Beautiful souls, in today's reading, I entered a field that carried a deep melancholy. And what struck me most was that beneath this sorrow, there exists a natural state of loving kindness, a gentle essence that's always been there. This reading was about feeling the emotions, the vibrations coming from the field that shape the energy of this public figure. As we move through the reading, I invite you to tune into your own intuition, how your own body responds, if you receive any sensations, and notice if there's sadness, tenderness, or even a quiet truth that longs to be seen. You asked for Prince Harry next. Let's go. Okay, so mistrust is the first thing that wants to be communicated from the field here. Mistrust. Mistrust, mistrust, mistrust. Mistrust, mistrust, mistrust. So there is a not to be trusted, not to be trusted. And that is what his field is communicating in terms of what it interacts with, who it interacts with, people around him, certain events, exchanges, and of course the energies around him. Not to be trusted. So there is a fear here connected to the not to be trusted. So then it's very clear that he does not trust many people. It's difficult for him to trust because there is an experiencing of, yes, lies and treachery, lies and treachery. And it's been constant. It's been constant throughout his life. It's been constant. It's been constant. It's been constant. There's been much confusion and conflict here to do with this individual. Much confusion and conflict. Not really knowing what's happening at times. Things moving so quickly that he doesn't get a chance to plant his feet firmly on the ground, to take stock and to just be with his own energy. So much happening around him. And very strong now. If I stay here, dictating from others how his life should be, what it needs to look like, the structure, where he needs to be, the schedule, timings, friendships, who he should interact with, who he shouldn't. This is safe, this is unsafe. Yes, it's very strong, very strong. So then what can happen is a losing of self there, losing of self. So the field becomes quite scattered. The field actually becomes quite weak. And then in that weakness, it is then easily manipulated. In that weakness, it is then easily manipulated. But at no point do I find his energy offensive. At no point do I find his energy overbearing. There is just much confusion. And that confusion, a lot of it is emotional. Trying to find his place in the world that's filled with so much noise and attention on him and his every move. And he wants to get away from that. He is desperate to get away from that because that takes life. That takes life from him. And that disturbs his emotional well-being, that disturbs his mental well-being, takes him away from seeing clearly who he is. Yeah. So there is an absence there. But I'm not going to go into that absence because that goes into his personal energy. But it did rear its head. And that is also related to the emotions that's all around him. You see, the body, where it's trying to find its centre, but the field is continuing. There is like an onslaught of attacks coming from the outside in that is hard to manage, And that's what he is trying to get away from. And that is from all of his experience with being lied to, with the mistrust. There's a lot of dishonesty that has happened to him. That's sad. Yeah, that's really sad. And his voice hasn't been strong enough. His voice hasn't found itself to anchor itself, to be able to give off the energy that commands, that says enough. And that is with all the ongoing distractions in the field. So he himself has been trying to find his voice amongst all of that is coming in to just bring him down. There's a lot of voices outside of him that just aren't very nice. It's hatred. And that is a very heavy vibration in dense form from the collective energy that can actually really destroy someone, utterly destroy, where they lose a will to live, to want to live. Okay, I'm going to go to the next clip. Thank you so much. Thank you. So this was from a few months ago, and it was the most recent clip that I could find of him. Yeah, okay, I'm going to pause it right there, just as he's starting, because that field it's very messy. So he's either gotten himself, his energies, his well-being, family. There's a messy situation that's been unfolding. So he actually doesn't want to be here. He actually wants to get away completely, which is what we found. It was the same energy from the first clip. He really doesn't want to be there, regardless of what the face is showing, what he is saying. The vibrational field is communicating very clearly that he is desperate to be away from all of this. And all of this meaning the stage, all of this meaning places that he has to be, places that he must show up to. He doesn't want to do it. There's a pressure mounting on him from somewhere. There's a pressure that isn't very nice. Let's see if we can just see a little bit more. So not only does he have all of this noise from the outside and the attacking, but there is someone very close to him that is also applying a pressure. Makes you feel a bit sick. And that's because that energy that is close to him, there's no other way to describe it, but it's a staining. And when there are stains on someone's field that hasn't been cleared up, well, stagnation, but also a growth, a feeding, and that stain in that discoloration, in that sickness, rather than seeking help, it latches. And that's what you got to be very careful of in relationships, especially romantic relationships. Basically, if you don't sort your own stuff out, you can end up pulling the person that you love, the loved ones, down with you. You can really start affecting them. So rather than lifting them, encouraging, supporting them, and actually being a magnifier, that's what we are able to do in our romantic relationships. We can amplify the other person. But more commonly, we end up arguing, fighting, picking, and then we end up bringing each other down. And then the whole vibrational frequency then starts to lose its life. So here, there is someone here that, I don't like that. I don't like that, because that's interfering with someone's own personal energy when it has so much purpose there to exude and do good. Let's just see if we've got a final message here. Yeah, it's that sadness again. You see, there's no threat in his field, there's no malevolence. But there is someone does need help. And this is someone who needs to get away from all the energies that attack him, that bring him down, that suppress his voice, his power. And it's someone that needs time to themselves. He's actually very gentle. I would even use the words kind, and a natural, loving state. He has a natural, loving state. Yeah. Fed too many lies, cover-ups that have affected his ability to know what's true, what's not. And that's his third eye, the affecting of his third eye. I'm going to wrap that up, beautiful souls. Beautiful souls, you asked for a reading on Prince Harry. Let me know how you guys felt about the transmission today. And if you are familiar or you follow him, then share in the comment section. Until next time, beautiful souls, love and blessings. Love and blessings.